Buddy. See, Jeff, it tells me it's been recorded. You don't have to remind me anymore. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Wednesday webinar. Tonight's training is going to be in two parts. The first part is going to be sponsored. Is that okay, Fiona? Do you want to go first? There's two. I'll let you choose. Who wants to go first?
Don't mind, I'll go first.
Do you want to go first? I think we'll go with Fiona first. Fiona volunteered. I think you volunteered. Did I ask you? half volunteered. The wee arm up the thing, as I usually do. Fiona's got a great attitude, and I'm not going to say, because I'm sure she'll share a testimonial at the beginning of her training. So I'm not going to say very much other than what I think. I think Fiona's attitude is absolutely outstanding, and what she achieved and the circumstances that she's working around that she'll chat to you about is phenomenal. So I'm going to share the screen. Bear in mind that the slides are just slightly behind Fiona. When I somebody's at wanting in, when I click next, it takes a few seconds, just like it takes a few seconds for everybody to see the screen. So I'll just be patient. And there's somebody walking into the room. That's my eyes. Right. Pop this on the full screen. Slideshow. Sorry, the instructions for my Zoom are at the top of the page, and they're obscuring me getting it on the full screen. Right, slideshow. I popped a wee extra slide in, Fiona, but that's just to give me a little bit of chance to introduce you, which I've already done. Right. That's not me, it's doing that, by the way. It's moving by itself, but we'll put it back. I'll tell you what, when is everybody going to stop using Zoom? Mate, this is playing up. Usually does with the first slide, but I want to go to previous. I'm just going to
go back now, does it?
Yeah, it's going back, and I'm just checking it's going back and forward now. Right, I'll put it on the speaker view, and then we'll just introduce you properly. And it's over to Fiona.
Thank you. Right, Lynn's just asked me to put together a bit of training on attitude and tell you a bit about our situation and how we manage to get the results we do with the circumstances we're working in. I love this picture. My dad gave me this picture when I was a small kid, just before I took the 11 plus, and he drew it himself. He drew me it as a cartoon, and it stayed with me ever since. And it's something that I always come back to, that idea that whatever your circumstances are, it is never everything you can about the circumstances you find yourself in. So never, ever give up. However bleak it looks, you can keep moving forward. And as long as you've got the right attitude, it doesn't matter what pace you're moving at, because that's very personal, as long as you keep moving forward.
It's decided to freeze, Fiona. There you go.
So your attitude needs to be connected to your why. If you are not connected to your why, you haven't got anything driving you forwards. And your why may well change over time, and that's fine, because if you put a why down when you join the business and your circumstances change, then it's no longer going to have that immediate relevance that you need to keep it driving you. So those that don't know me very well, I'll just tell you a little bit about how over the 16 years I've been in network marketing, our circumstances have changed drastically several times, and we have just kept ploughing forwards with it. But the important thing about this is that my why has drastically changed at times. And this goes back to something Jeff was suggesting last week about understanding what benefits people get from the business. So I joined in 2004 in network marketing when my pregnancy ended my career. What I was doing was not family friendly. It was lots of evenings, it was all weekends. And I was married at the time to someone on a decent wage. Money was not a huge issue. I just wanted that £50 a week that you hear about for everybody joining, to run my car, go on little outings, look after the baby, get me out of the house, and to do something, having given up full-time work to have the baby. So that's where I started. However, my marriage then failed. And as it was failing, the money was drying up, finances were not great. And actually, going from just wanting pocket money, I actually now needed 100 to 150 a week, enough to keep me and the kids fed and clothed. We had other things being provided, but I had to know that I could put food on the table and clothe the children. By this point, I had 3 children, very small, and it was really important. So my why then changed dramatically to being an absolute, I must earn this money. Marriage failed and I was left destitute with 3 children under 5. Now, ironically, this was not the point where money was important to me, because in that situation, I was told by the benefits agency that I was fine. I didn't need to actually work until my youngest, who was at that point 9 months old, was turned 7 years old. So the benefits agency actually told me to sit still on benefits for 6.5 years. And that was their plan for me at that point, with 3 very small children. Now, I'd worked since I was 14. And for me, the idea of not earning my own money just didn't sit right at all. I knew I was going to need some help, obviously, in the situation I'd landed in, but I needed the dignity of working. I needed to feel that I was at least trying to support my family. So at that point, the most important thing about the business wasn't actually the money coming in, but the fact it gave me a flexible way that I could carry on working, despite what I was being told by everybody around me. As the kids got older, 2 of them were diagnosed with special needs, autism, and all my ideas that when the kids go to school, I'll get a part-time job during school hours flew out the window. The autism they have led to a lot of rebellion. It led to them not fitting in at mainstream school. We had constant non-attendance, and any chance of getting a normal sort of 10 till 2 job was just not going to be possible, because the kids needed me. So at that point, I needed flexibility. That was the most important thing to me. I needed to work, but it had to be flexible. My eldest is now 16 and has just finished school. So we're in a very different situation. My youngest is going into secondary age education, but due to his needs, we're pulling him out and homeschooling him. So my needs, again, are very, very different. We need a family income, but I also need to be available for my son. One of my sons is not currently living with me, so I need the space to be able to get over and see him and support him. And those things that I want to provide extra for the kids, so that they can do the activities, so they can go on camps, all those little extras. And also, because of the total soap opera that my life has been so far, I haven't got fantastic provision for the future. So for me, actually at this point in my life, looking forward to building something secure for me is really, really important. So as you can see, I'm probably a really good example of how the why that you join for may not be 15 years down the line what you need to be focused on to drive your business forward. So be aware of what your current why is, what the most important thing you need to get out of the business is, and use that to focus your attitude. If you are determined to get those things, you will develop the right attitude. I found this quote from Michael Katka recently. Planning is addressed every single morning for its progress, tweaks, and direct action to make it happen. Everything you see happening in the business comes from a wider plan broken down into smaller steps. Now, any business, if you look at it from the CEO down, actually on paper looks like a pyramid, which is why we so often get that thrown at us. but any business looks like that. And what's important is that it's duplicatable. In this business, we need to be taught what we then need to teach, and we need to keep that flow moving downwards. And to me, this was really inspiring, that what Michael is doing in running the entire organization actually echoes what I'm doing in my business daily. So for me, it is really important that in order to move forward and keep my attitude aligned, I need to know what it is that I'm trying to achieve. And that only comes through planning. And it's no good just knowing what's at the end of the journey. You need to have planned what the stepping stones on the way are. And so this is what Michael's on about here, is that you need to take your big plan and break it down into those smaller steps to get where you want to go. So many of you will have seen this illustration before. It's quite a famous one, but I don't know if you've ever thought about it in terms of our business. What we often say when we start talking about planning in training is we put up an empty weekly planner sheet. And then we say, start your plan with your current commitments, then add the extra things that you're going to do for the business. Now, we all know what we mean by that. But if you have someone like me who has a lot of commitments, what you may find is they put all their commitments in the planner, and all that it tells them is they don't have time to do the business, that there are no gaps. Okay, certainly if I write all my weekly commitments onto my planner, you'd then say, oh, I haven't got time to do the business, right? You don't want a busy person to use that weekly planner inadvertently to talk themselves out of the business. So you need to talk them through it. You need to be aware of what commitments they've got and show them that if they think that they've got this jar where all the rocks just aren't going to fit, where all the things you've told them to do that they need to do to get their business moving, you know, they've put them all in the jar and then the rest of their life just won't fit in, you need to turn that round for them. And this is how we work our business. Yeah, I have 3 children I have to look after. I have another part-time job. I have elderly parents. I have ex-family member who's got cancer and has needed a lot of care. Yeah, there's an awful lot of stuff going on in my life. Those things I can't change, but how the business fits around them, I can. And this is what we need to show people. Sometimes we get a lot of training from people who are full-time in the business or have quite a lot of time for the business, and they talk about doing a lot in one go. They talk about going out and doing a 500 book block drop. They talk about, you know, number of flyers going out, and that's absolutely right. We do need the numbers to make it work, but don't lose sight of the fact they don't all need to be done at the same time. So if you've got someone who's really busy, just be aware that you can help them to fit it all into that planner by breaking the jobs down. So talk about the cataloguing maybe in blocks of 50. Show them how they can get that 500 out over a week, but how they can do it around what they've got. Turn all the jobs into individual little jobs, because they'll have a little small hole. So if they put all their big rocks into that jar first, and you've then broken all the other jobs down into gravel, you'll find it'll all go in. And for someone who wants to make the business work, they will then follow that plan and they will get there. And obviously I tend to do a lot of cataloguing. I talk about cataloguing a lot, but online is exactly the same. The jobs that need to be done can be broken down into individual bits and pieces that they can come back and do in between the other things in their life. So saving the product photos, creating the ads, posting in groups, you know, messaging the customers, processing orders, all these things can be broken into individual bits. But just make sure that that busy new distributor doesn't actually find there's no space on their planner for the business. In our house, obviously with autism, anxiety is a massive issue for us. But I think for anybody, we need to feel in control of what we're actually doing, because that's how we feel secure. So I found this lovely quote: anxiety is caused by a lack of control, organisation, preparation, and action. And if you've got the right attitude, then all that will fall into place. So what do I do? How do we get the results we get, is what Lynn asked me. And basically by filling that weekly planner absolutely chocker and going round this circle. We plan, we prepare, we go out and we do it. And then we spend a bit of time going, is that going to get us what we want? Was that enough? Did we get there? You know, what can we change on the next time around the circle? And we just keep going. Now, for us, preparation is often the night before because we have an early start in the morning, but it's really important that we know that we've got everything ready to get us through every job that we've got to achieve the following day. So if you are persistent, you'll get it. If you're consistent, you'll keep it. It's no good going around the circle once. It feels good at the time, you know, you feel like you've achieved something, but that's as far as you'll go unless you just keep going round. For us, one of the things we do have mantras that we use. Obviously, I do a lot of cataloguing with an 11-year-old, so there's a lot of keeping ourselves going. So as I say, we always load up for the day. In our case, one of the things we do, we just don't go home. We make sure we have everything in the car that we need for the whole day, and then we go out and that's it, we work. Because of the homeschooling, that probably means we'll stop for a coffee break in a cafe to use their Wi-Fi somewhere to get the lessons in, but it is about slotting all the things together that have got to be achieved. So we will tell our things like no going home till we're done. And that happened today. We could have gone home at 5 o'clock tonight, but we still had customer base to go out, but we were really hot and really tired. But we did it. We pushed on and it did. Yeah, we were late home, but we got it all done. Reward yourself. You know, today we were really hot. We'd got all our chase ups in and we went and got ice cream. You know, it's good to reward yourself because it helps you going forwards. If you know that you're going to get that little reward, it does push you on. It does keep you going. So for us, these are some of the things that we tell ourselves as we're going along when the going gets tough, you know, when it's pouring with rain and we're wet. Yes, no excuses. We've got to get these all in. We've got to get round this round. You know, we've got to get these deliveries done. So yours might be different mantras, you know, there might be different things you need to tell yourself. But for us, it does work to keep having these little sayings that we go over and over. And don't feel you're alone. We have a wonderful training system. We have fantastic colleagues. It's all there. Make sure that you plug into it and make sure that you get your team to plug into it. Get to know the other people in the business. Get onto the Facebook page. There is so much support out there. And there are so many ways of doing things because it's such a flexible business that only by listening to other people and people who are where you want to get to, will you get ideas about how to get there yourself. That is the thing. You want to get to the destination you've set for yourself. So how did other people get there? You know, what is it that gets them out with their catalogues? How do they fit it around their life? Who is out there that maybe has a slightly similar sort of situation to you? How do they fit it in? Find the people, talk to them and take their advice. And when it's chucking it down with rain or your health's not good or times get tough, go and take the motivation, you know, take them, let them support you, let them hold you up and keep you going. Wonderful. One member is having a weak moment, the others keep them going. And that's part of the belonging. And I think belonging in this business is really important. So to sum up how we get done the things that we do, Malcolm X said, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Well, the future's going to happen, but you know, the things you want in the future are only going to happen if you take some action. The things that you need to do tomorrow to get on that first stepping stone will only happen if you prepare for them today. So it's down to you really to get your and keep going around that little circle that I showed you. So for us, really, that is the key to our business and how we achieve what we do. We just keep going. I hope that's helpful to someone.
That's great.
That was fantastic, Fiona. Well done.
Well done.
Thank you.
Lynn, you're still on mute.
Oh dear, sorry about that. Now I have to say it all over again. That was fantastic, Fiona. Absolutely brilliant training. Brilliant. Well done. Phenomenal. And before I let you go, just in case anybody's watching this video afterwards, because they post them into the YouTube channel, let everybody know with how much did you retail last period, what's your average retail, and what's your new target? Around 3 boys.
For about the last nearly 6 months, I think we've qualified at Star 1000. Last period was our highest at 1,780. So we're sneaking our way up towards the 2,000. But for us, yeah, we make slow, steady progress because of our circumstances. And that's how it works for us.
That's what I love about your story. You've just made that progress. You've just went over and over again. So that's nearly £1,800 around the 3 boys. That deserves a big clap of its own. But so well done, Fiona. I thoroughly enjoyed that training. Well done. Absolutely brilliant. Just say a quick hi to Louise and Owen. Hi guys. I'm now going to introduce you to our next. Oh, Jane, I just passed you over to be host, don't I? Our next trainer is Jane White, who is going to cover, when it allows me to see my participants, Jane is going to cover sponsoring. Now, it is mainly sponsoring outside social media, but I'm pretty sure she'll give social media a mention. But most of us are doing the social media fairly successful, but the lockdown's coming to an end. There's lots of more rods in the pond. So I'm going to make Jane host. Make host. Yes, and it's over to you, Jane.
Thank you. Is it still on record? Yes.
Yes. Yes, I just go and edit it, but I've stopped editing these days. I've just got used to the hiccups. It's part of our Zooms.
Okay. Okay. Once again, if I can just say, well done, Fiona. I'm very proud to have her in my group, but really, really proud. Yes, and when we're talking about sponsoring, Fiona came into our lives, as she said, 15, 16 years ago, and didn't come in because of Jim or I. There was another lady we had in our business who lived not far from Fiona, who is no longer in the business and hasn't been in the business for a long time. So, you know, when you do introduce people into the business, it's really important to make sure that the gaps that are there, that maybe the person experience or has joined for a totally different reason, that you're there to fill in those gaps. And we're very, very fortunate that Fiona is in our business, and I'm delighted that she stayed with us. So, I think it's fair to say that
Sorry to interrupt, but Jane, you're freezing with me. Is it freezing for anybody else? Hello?